You've probably heard it a million times, right? Work smarter, not harder. But what if I told you that harder is exactly what makes you smarter? Today, we're going to dig into this really powerful idea that embracing difficulty, well, that's the fastest way to grow your brain.
All right, let's just jump right in with a piece of advice that might sound a little harsh. Stop seeking comfort. Now, I know how that sounds, but there's some incredible brain science behind this that really challenges the way we think about learning. So let's make this personal for a second. I want you to really ask yourself this question. Is your content consumption making your brain lazy? I mean, think about it. The endless scroll on your phone, the quick video summaries, the algorithm that just keeps feeding you more of what you already know. Could all that easy access actually be making us, well, worse at thinking? And that right there, that leads us straight into what you could call the comfort trap. See, our brains are these incredible adaptation machines. So if we keep feeding them simple, easy to digest stuff that takes zero effort, they adopt to that. They get really good at shallow thinking, and they start to avoid the heavy lifting that real learning requires. But don't worry, there is a way out of this trap. A really powerful one, actually. So for our next section, let's look at your brain on friction, the secret to growth. This is where we get into the real nuts and bolts of how your brain gets stronger. So this whole idea is built on one amazing scientific concept, neuroplasticity. And what is that? Well, it's basically your brain's superpower. It's the ability to literally rewire itself, to reorganize by forming new connections based on what you do and experience. Your brain isn't set in stone. It's more like clay. And honestly, this is the best way to think about it. Just picture your brain as a muscle. I mean, seriously, you wouldn't go to the gym and expect to get stronger by lifting a feather, would you? No way. You need resistance. You need some weight to push against. Your brain is the exact same thing. And this is where you can really see the difference. When you do an easy task, something you've done 1,000 times, your brain is just cruising down a well-worn, super efficient highway. It's comfortable, it feels automatic, but a hard task, that forces your brain to basically forge a new path through the jungle. That feeling of struggle, that's not just a feeling, it's the very foundation of learning and growth. So let's zoom in on that feeling, that struggle. What is really going on inside your head when things feel tough and you kind of just want to give up? Let's take a look at the actual science of what's happening. Okay, if you only take one thing away from this explainer, let it be this. That feeling of frustration, of being stuck, of having to read the same paragraph 3 times over, that is not a sign that you're failing. It is the literal, physical sensation of your brain forging new pathways. It's what growth feels like in real time. So, how does it work? It basically breaks down into these 4 simple steps. First, you engage with something new and difficult. This creates that cognitive friction we've been talking about. In response, your neurons are forced to fire together in new patterns. And finally, as a result of all that effort, brand new, stronger connections are formed. That's it. That's learning. Right there in a nutshell. And this quote just sums it all up perfectly. The next time you feel that mental strain, I want you to remember this. Difficulty isn't the obstacle. It's the signal that growth is happening. It's not a stop sign telling you to turn back. It's more like a progress bar for your brain. Okay, so we get the science, right? The why is clear. Now for the really important part. How do we actually do this? How do we put all this friction to work in our own lives? It really all comes down to a shift in your mindset. The goal is to stop doing what we all do naturally, which is avoiding difficulty, and instead start intentionally seeking out productive struggle. You want to find that sweet spot where a task is hard, for sure, but not totally impossible. So what does that actually look like in the real world? Well, here are a few great examples. Instead of a light read, pick up a book that really pushes you. Or practice the skill right at the very edge of your ability, the place where you're going to make some mistakes. Try to learn something so well that you could explain it to a 5-year-old. Or just tackle a problem that doesn't have a quick, easy answer. That is the essence of deep struggle. And that brings us right here to the end and to a question I want to leave you with. Really think about it. What hard thing will you choose to learn next? Because now you know the secret. The struggle isn't something to avoid. It's where all the magic happens.